It's the end of the month, and that means it's time for the rundown. Hey everyone, welcome to the rundown for February 2021. In this month's rundown we have another 9 weeks of lockdown in Ireland, Boeing grounds 777 aircraft after engine explodes in Denver, and Biden reopens child migrant facilities. Now before we get into it, please like and share this video to give it a boost. So first up, another 9 weeks of lockdown in Ireland announced. Taoiseach Micheál Martin has recently announced an extension to the Level 5 restrictions in Ireland to Easter. This lockdown, according to an Oxford University study, is the most restrictive in Europe and the 6th most restrictive in the world. Now, this has frustrated many Irish people who believe that the government has failed in their attempts in tackling this virus, as well as its abysmal vaccination programme. The government has said the same thing every time they've announced new lockdowns or especially lockdown extensions. And that is, we're just not seeing what we need to see to lift the restrictions. The problem with that though is that they've actually never said what they need to see. So the Irish public is trying to get to a point, it's trying to achieve a goal, but they actually don't know what the goal is. So obviously they're not satisfied by that. Which is fair enough, I think. And this has actually led many to believe that the Irish government doesn't want to actually lift the restrictions at all, given the level of control over people's civil liberties that these restrictions has granted the government. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't fundamentally believe that, but I do understand where people who believe that where they come from. I think it's actually a lot simpler, I will say. I think that when the government is saying that they actually have a plan, they actually don't. And they're just making things up as they go. So next up, Boeing grounds 777 aircraft after an engine explodes in Denver. On the 20th of February, United Airlines Flight 238, a Boeing 777 aircraft, suffered an uncontained engine failure, scattering parts across a Denver neighborhood. Thankfully, no one was hurt, either on board or on the ground, and the aircraft managed to make an emergency landing back at Denver International Airport where it took off. The FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, in response to this incident, grounded all Boeing 777 aircraft with the same type of engine. Now, investigators have found that the engine failure was caused by two fan blades fracturing, which caused a compressor stall, resulting in the engine failure. It is believed that the blades fractured due to metal fatigue, although this has not been confirmed as of yet. This isn't a new problem. British Midland Flight 092 crashed into the embankment of the M1 motorway just outside Kegworth town in the UK after a combination of the left engine failing due to a fan blade fracturing and pilot error when the crew shut down the other engine in response to the failure. Now, I think this shows that a good crew is always better than any kind of automated system. Because, and if you look at the video, I'll see if I can get a picture up there for you of the engine. It was shaking quite badly and there was visible flames inside it. So, and you can see all the cowling has been blasted off. That's pretty extensive damage to an engine. But the fact that a plane is designed to fly with only one engine, and that the fire didn't actually spread outside the engine, as well as skill, because it does take a bit of skill to land a plane with only one engine, given the asymmetrical thrust. The crew did exceptionally well in landing this aircraft safely. And it's also pretty fortunate that no one on the ground was injured by any of the debris that fell from the aircraft. Finally, Joe Biden reopens the child migrant facilities. Joe Biden recently reopened a child migrant facility where illegal immigrants who were underage, who were minors, will be housed whilst being processed. Now, this is actually one of the child migrant centres that was described by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as concentration camps when it was under the Trump administration. AOC has also criticised Biden, stating that this is not okay. Never has been okay, never will be okay, no matter the administration or party. I'm actually going to say this, I give her credit for her consistency on that point. The Biden administration has responded to the criticisms by saying that there aren't many options to deal with the problem, to deal with the situation, and that migrant centres were essentially the worst option. They've also said that these aren't the cages like you saw under the Trump administration, even though they weren't really under the Trump administration, they were actually under the Obama administration, but okay. Even though they weren't actually cages, to be fair, they were actually they were like summer camp style accommodation when children were housed under the previous administration. I am finding it interesting that the mainstream media isn't covering this as harshly as they did when it was under the Trump administration. To them, it was a crime against humanity back then, breaking all human rights apparently in that situation. The left were yelling, Trump is putting kids in cages. Now it's, oh, we're just putting him in migrant centres, migrant facilities. Now before I end this video, I want to talk about something that is kind of important. And that is the fact that YouTube removed the 2020 rundown for, as they claim, fake news about voter fraud in the 2020 election. Now I have given a full response to this on BitChute. I'm not going to give any kind of fleshed out response here because I don't want this video to get removed for the same reason, even though the original reason I think was a bit of a stretched out excuse, I think. I will leave a link to that, to my channel on BitChute. It is something I do recommend you watch, just to get my full response to what they claim I said, which I do talk about in that video. I'm not going to be talking about the 2020 election on YouTube anymore. I'm also going to say this. I don't think there's a point in talking about the 2020 election anymore because it's done. Now, were there issues with it? yeah, and those issues should be looked at, but they should be looked at to try to prevent the same problems from taking place in the next election. I am planning a few BitChute exclusive videos, so I do recommend you subscribe to me over there to keep up to date on that. So what do you guys think? Share your thoughts with me in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear them. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe to keep up with my latest videos. A lot has happened this month. And I know there was a few stories that there have been a few stories that I wanted to talk about, but I had to be a bit selective. So if there's a story you think I should cover, comment them down below and I'll have a good look into them. And we'll see how it goes, because it's been quite interesting in the last few weeks, I will say. This has been the rundown for February 2021. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.